What it do? Yo man, listen. Today we're gonna be talking about assassins. Let's get right into it. Recently, I made a video making some predictions as to what the Drukhari faction might look like when it comes to Tacticus. Today, I want to do the same thing for a faction that is very near and dear to my heart. It is called the Imperial Agents. Now, during my Q&A a while back, Snowprint did mention that they were aiming to add all the factions that have codexes to Tacticus at some point. Imperial Agents has a codex. It is an amalgamation of the Deathwatch codex from 9th edition and the Imperial Agents rules. Personally, I love this faction. More specifically, I love the characters this faction can produce, and I would love to see it in Tacticus. The issue that Snowprint might face when implementing this faction to Tacticus is that, as I mentioned, going from 9th edition to 10th edition, Deathwatch lost their codex, and their rules got put into the Imperial Agents Codex alongside the Imperial Agents. This puts the Deathwatch in a very awkward position because they are definitely a fan favorite faction to the point that Games Workshop had to go back and let Deathwatch be playable without having a codex, just piggybacking off Space Marine rules. But they don't actually have a faction. They don't actually have a codex, which makes it difficult for them to get added to Tacticus. So I think maybe what Snowprint might do is just add them to Tacticus as just one model in the Imperial Agents faction. Which creates a different problem that there are simply too many iconic units which are also very popular. And because Snowprint just releases 5 characters for every faction and then maybe adds more in the future, it's really difficult for me to make a prediction because I don't know what Snowprint is going to leave out. So, unlike other videos where I sometimes do 5 or less, this video I will do more than 5 characters, and I will talk more about how they might be added to the Tacticus game. So that was a very weird way of saying it. Draupnir's losing it. He's recording multiple videos in the same day. What a loser he is. What a loser. First things first. I think a Deathwatch veteran would be the coolest thing added to Tacticus. So, for those of you who don't know, essentially, Deathwatch is a weird chapter that takes Space Marine from actual chapters such as Space Wolves, Ultramarines, Imperial Fists, whatnot, and they make them serve with the sole purpose of hunting Xenos. Xenos are aliens. There are, simply put, too many iconic weapons and war gear options to make a prediction as to what the faction will have. Personally, I would absolutely love above all else to use the model you're seeing on screen. A power sword and a bolter, a Deathwatch bolter. With this model, oh my god, I would love that. As for the abilities, Snowprint can get as creative as they want because it's just basically a Space Marine that hunts Xenos. But I do think if they are to add Deathwatch into the game, if there's one Deathwatch, this will probably be an ability. If Deathwatch is a faction, this will probably be a faction ability. And that is the Special Issue Ammunition. This is a rule that Deathwatch has had for a while. Essentially, they have special ammunition that does different things on demand. Essentially, you choose the best profile when you're making your attacks. Like if you're going into Tau, it does different things. When you're going into Tyrannus, it does different things. It's pretty cool. It's pretty iconic. I think this will get added to Tacticus. Now, as for the actual Imperial Agents, let's add some Gunnar bait, okay? The first one, I think, I'm not comfortable, but I think we are likely to get a Callidus assassin in Tacticus. The reason I say this is because she had an episode on Hammer and Bolter, and I think it is in both Games Workshop and Snowprint's best interest to try to double dip into media to make characters more approachable for people who don't play Tacticus, who might be like, oh, hey, I saw this character in the Hammer and Bolter TV show or Warhammer Plus show. It's in the game. Let me play that, right? Now, it's kind of difficult. The abilities don't really translate very well to Tacticus. She has good shooting, she has good melee. The melee used to be like really good. Now it's still good now. She's fast, she's relatively durable, not that, like she's like essentially a space marine, durability wise. Her main ability is that she can shapeshift into other people, other beings. So that's how like they do covert operations. I think from a gameplay perspective, it would be the most interesting thing if you just had this unit that had good shooting, that had good melee, but you could also shapeshift into one of your characters. So let's say you're doing the Neurotrope comp, and you shoot with Yazgor, or you use Yazgor active ability, so Neurotrope gets an extra hit, and then you shapeshift Callidus into the Yazgor, and then you do the same thing, or something along those lines. You get what I'm saying? Or the new character, the anti-psychic character, which makes it so enemy psychers take 20% more damage, and then you shapeshift the Callidus assassin into her, so that's two 20% damages. Cool stuff like that. I think from a gameplay perspective, this will be awesome. Plus, look at this. Look at this. This looks sick. This looks sick. This is like, I love this. I love this so much. The next assassin is the Cluexus assassin. The main point of this is to be anti-psyker. This whole datasheet and lore exists to exclusively make psychers regret existing, plus the model looks so sick. Look at that head. It's like a weird skull helmet with like a something coming out of it. Like what? It's a head so big it'll make the Neurotrope blush. It has good shoot. It has like okay shooting, okay melee. It's just his profiles are designed exclusively to bully psychers. And it's just like, look at this. Each time you select a psyker unit for a target's weapon, until those attacks are resolved, change the attack's characteristic of the weapon to 6. Like, you are absolutely hurting psychers. And there are a non-insignificant number of psychers as guild raid bosses. Tyranids are guild raid psychers, Mortarian's a psycher, Magnus the Red is a psycher. This guy would be pretty cool. Also, the Abomination, this model is a feel no pain, or rather, okay, 2-up feel no pain. I'm not going to try to read it the way they do it. Against psychic attacks. This thing is very similar to the sister model that just came out, which will be pretty cool. Just like an anti-psychic team, just go after, it'll be fun. Next guy, the Eversor assassin. Now, this guy is like a Gen Z kid on Adderall. Extremely fast, extremely killing in melee, and because he's on so many drugs, when he dies, he detonates like a nuclear bomb. I don't want to like go into the intricacies of like how he might be added to Tacticus. I think it'll be really cool to have a character that has extremely good melee, he's extremely fast, and he explodes when killed. Of course, for balance purposes, and the fact that the pistol is a big part of the identity, maybe he should have a ranged attack so that Ragnar teams can't abuse him as much. I don't know. The balance is not up to me. The last assassin is the Vindicare assassin. This is just a sniper guy, like he just snipes people. I think he is the least interesting out of all the assassins from the sense of getting out of the Tacticus, in the sense that he is very one-dimensional. He just has a sniper rifle. He stays very far away from you. He shoots you, and through his abilities, you explode. Like, it's just a lot of damage. I'm not doing this character Injustice, he doesn't really do that many things. He just shoots something with his sniper. He does a lot of damage. That's all he does. That's when I think he might not get out of Tacticus. Because can you imagine a 3 movement, 4 range assassin that just one-shots your characters? That will not be fun. Last thing. An Inquisitor. I don't even know where to start talking about Inquisitors. There are multiple named Inquisitors, which will be cool to see in Tacticus. Inquisitor Eisenhorn, Inquisitor Greyfax are the ones that I can remember off the top of my head. There are a lot of cool models that got released relatively recently, a couple of years ago, I think. The unnamed Inquisitors can be customized to no end. They have a lot of shooting options. They have a lot of melee options. They have a lot of, you can put them in Terminator suits and whatnot. We give them different rules. They're pretty cool. On top of being cool, they're very iconic. Inquisitor Eisenhorn novels, I talked about them before. They're awesome. There is the Rogue Trader, which is different, but whatever. Let's not deviate too much. I don't even want to talk about what it might do, what it might not do. It's just, I think it's very safe to assume we're going to get an Inquisitor if we get an Agents faction. As for that Inquisitor being named or not named, I don't know. However, I would actually make a bet that the Snowprint would have this Inquisitor have a ranged psychic attack. The reason I say this is because otherwise, Deathwatch and Agents don't really have psychic, and I think this would really help round out the faction. Just be like, we have a lot of melee things, we have a lot of shooting things, let's have a psychic thing, stuff like that. I think it'll be pretty cool. I do think, making predictions is fun. I do think that there's still a while until we get the next faction. And as I mentioned in a previous video, I think the next faction is going to be Xenos. So to get an Imperial faction after that, I think there's going to be a long, long time until these actually get added to Tacticus. But you know me, I like making predictions, I like yapping about 40k. That being said, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate you doing so. Have a great day, and stay safe. Bye!